Since I started shooting, I have been a Beretta fanboy through and through. The idea of me owning anything other than an Italian shotgun was just something I wasn't willing to consider. Today, that changes. Blasers have been around for some time now. The company itself was founded in 1957, which is relatively young in terms of gun makers, but what they lack for in age, they make up for in innovation. So today I'm taking a good look at this Blaser F16 Sporting. I've had a chance to put it through its paces, and I have some thoughts. Let's talk a little bit about the feel and performance of this thing. It is pretty equal in the hands. To be honest with you, I quite like the balance of it. It's not too heavy in the front, not too heavy in the rear. Balances very nearly, if not right on the hinge pin. It is a fairly lively gun because it isn't, as far as sporting guns are concerned, it's not super heavy. It is livelier than its F3. Brother, I did shoot it a little bit back to back with a couple people that had some F3s, and it is, like I said, livelier, but not to the point where you couldn't track targets. So if anything, a livelier gun actually is good for me because my hold points aren't exactly as good as they should be. So a gun that I can more easily manipulate and get back online is one that usually leads to me shooting a little bit better. You can, of course, load this gun up with the balancing system and the weights that you can add under the in between the barrels and the forend. You can make it a total of 8.4 pounds, which does slow it down quite a bit and makes it feel a lot more like the F3. The profile of the stock and the forend I actually quite like. The forend has a really nice heavy palm swell on the one side that fits, into your hand well, and the neck is actually fairly narrow. Isn't something that you really notice unless you handle it back to back with some other guns, but it is very comfortable nevertheless. And the forend is nicely rounded, also fits really well in the hand. The whole thing feels very, very active in your hands. The comb and length of pull on this gun is actually set up from the factory pretty well for me. It shoulders really nicely. I don't find that it hangs up or it's a little bit awkward. I don't have to readjust. It goes right into the pocket, right where I want, right off the bat, which I think is a pretty good thing. Kind of the surprising thing about this is I had a bunch of different people that went out and we were shooting it, and everybody surprisingly kind of said a similar thing. We're studios are different size guys. Some are bigger, some are smaller, some are taller, some are shorter, and it oddly kind of felt good in everybody's hand. It wasn't something that anybody felt was really uncomfortable. So that was kind of a neat little factor. Ball. The comb on this is a pretty standard height. It's a pretty flat comb too, if you look at it. A little bit of drop. I don't know the exact spec of the drop, but again, I'm a standard kind of gun fitting guy. It comes up in the shoulders exactly where I would want it to be. So I quite like the way the dimensions of this gun are. The trigger on this gun is another strong point. It is adjustable. It has a set screw in there. You can slide it backwards and forwards depending on where you want it. Comes in about 3.5, 3.6 pounds to pull it. It's clean, crisp, no creep. I'll be honest with you, I didn't even really think about the trigger. It just felt good. It wasn't something that I was like, oh no, I don't like that. Coming, from my 694, for example, it paired up very nicely with that. Blaser is known for their machining processes. I think they're unique in the sense that they do not have a lot of hand-fitted components on this gun. That almost no hand-fitted components, if not any, are on this gun. They machine everything to a very tight tolerance, and it's evident it's a very nice sounding and tight closing gun. Kind of the cool thing about the fact the way they manufacture things is that all the components on this F16 are interchangeable with another F16. I actually tried this. I have another F16 that I pulled the barrels off of. put them on, closed it, and it closed exactly the same. No slop, no extra noise, no jiggle, no nothing. It was just exactly the way this one is now. That it closed with the different barrels on it. So kind of a cool thing when it comes to, you know, if you have maintenance or you need parts or something like that, you don't have to worry about getting somebody to fit them. It's something that if you have the parts and you're able to bolt them on or attach them, you can do so, and it works, which is pretty neat. One of the other things that I think really highlights the fact that these guns are made to put a lot of rounds through is they think about wear and tear on individual components. So the ejectors, for example, in this gun and the other guns in the lineup, they do not fire the ejection springs unless there is a actual shell discharged. I played around with this because I didn't quite understand it, and to be honest with you, I still don't understand how it works, but it does actually work. I put snap caps in here and pulled the trigger, and the ejectors will not fire the snap caps out of the chambers. Only in the instance where there is an actual true shell spent do they go off. Cool thing about that is obviously the fact that it's not putting unnecessary strain on those springs. Not something that you're going to really notice over short term, but again, if you put thousands of rounds through them, things like that matter and contribute to a reliable firearm. This gun has grade 4 walnut, which is an optional upgrade. They come standard with grade 3. The finishing on it is okay. You know, there's exposed pores and it's not fully smooth and that sort of thing. That is expected with any production gun, if I'm honest. You see that in pretty much any case, solely for the fact that it's not reasonable to spend that much time making the stocks perfect and meeting production demands and costs and all that sort of thing. So they do have to build them at a bit of a price point, but isn't something that you can't fix and make better at home. It's something I actually enjoy doing, so I look forward to working on this one a little bit. It's obviously not a deal breaker, but you know, if we're looking for faults, that's something that could be better. With regards to the tech specs on this gun, there is several different models that you can get. This is obviously the F16 Sporting, as we stated. Comes in 2 different barrel lengths. You can get it in a 30 or a 32 inch. This is a 32 inch. It has 3-inch chambers, 12 gauge. Trigger pull, about 3.5, 3.6 pounds, give or take. Comes with the Briley Spectrum chokes, about 5 of them, which powdered pretty well, I think. I haven't actually hit a powdering board with them. That's a video that is going to be coming. The way it breaks targets anyway is pretty good, so I'm happy with that at the moment. Some of the little extras, obviously, that come on the Sporting over the Field model is the balancing system. I think that's probably the biggest difference between the two, and the fact that you have extended chokes is another one. So that brings me to the good and not so good aspects of this firearm. The good. Really well balanced. I like the fact that it's adjustable, of course, but the way it feels in the hand, the weight of it, the forend, the palm swell, the balance, and the way it swings, I think are very good. The performance of this gun is exactly what I would expect in something like this. The downside, of course, is I think we can agree it's not the prettiest of shotguns out there. It has a simplistic-like elegance about it, but putting it in a rack next to some other firearms, for example, it's not something that stands out. It's one that's, you know, there for a purpose, and it does work and do its purpose very well, but it's not something that is you're going to sit and really admire. Now, that being said, if that is something that you so desire, they do make F16s that are beautifully engraved and have beautiful wood and all those sorts of things. But if you're looking for a sporting shotgun for the purpose of shooting sporting clays, this is something I think you should seriously think about. All right, that's all we have for today, folks. I do appreciate everybody watching. If you have any questions regarding this F16, please leave them in the comments below. If you've owned one, shot one, I'd also like to hear from you and hear what your thoughts are. And please like and subscribe if you haven't already. And we'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.